Get in, nerds. We're playing Victoria 3. We are continuing to play as France, and we talked about it a little bit in the community tab, and we decided to do a little bit of post-endgame content, so I'm going to get prepared for that. First thing we're going to need to handle the post-endgame is we're going to need more oil. We are... This is not... Well, okay, we're not actually sorted properly here. This is not a situation that we can tolerate for extended periods of time, for sure. So that's going to be something we're going to need to handle. Our main targets are Tripolitania, which has 60 oil rigs available here in Tripoli and 60 here in the Libyan desert. None here in the Libya state and none discoverable, but it's a start. We're going to have that into our country. If we vassalize them now, we can have them into the country in 5 years' time, basically. The other target is Venezuela, which has capacity for... which has discoverable... which has capacity for 33 oil rigs here in Miranda and 60 here in Zulia. I think between these two... So, puppeting Venezuela is going to cost us 38.9 infamy, and we currently have 64.8, so we can't do that one quite yet, but I think we're going to do that one first. Puppeting Tripolitania is going to cost us only 16.2. But I think we're going to go there first and get that out of the way, because it's going to be a long time after that that we're going to have our infamy going down. We're going to have to wait for a while to get those things properly going. What are the chances we can get IT as a protectorate? Not great. We may end up having to puppet them as well. But I do want to bring... I do want to puppet them, because... Or at least make them a dominion. Because I would like to have IT be in our customs union. Make dominion play in Arabia. Prussia wants to make a dominion of Lahej. That's probably fine. And then we got a situation going on here in Bhutan. Sicily wants the Celebes, which is this set of islands right here. I think that's how that's pronounced. I am not sure. Interesting. Bhutan's a solid little country here. I'm actually surprised they managed to get a hold of so much, but it is what it is. I've managed to get a hold of quite a bit. Sulu is also fairly large. Are you my dominion? No, you're Prussia's dominion. Silly Prussia, having the same color as me. How could you do this? Yes, silly bellies. $64.1. My goal is I want to avoid going over the 100 mark, because the 100 mark is where bad stuff happens. In any case, we'll be able to be chill in the coming years by a little bit. We're still suffering from a little bit of economic overgrowth. This is a very common thing that happens in the late game in Vicky 3. We got shortages of oil and coal, which is making it difficult for us to get our electricity up where we need it to be. So here's what it is. I'm going to cancel this building because I don't think it's going properly. We also need to find ourselves a source of opium for these field hospitals. But I don't want to work on that quite yet, because I think we're going to be... Do we have anywhere we can build opium plantations? We don't. So it's very sad, because I really would love to have that final method, but with that having been said, I think we're basically outpacing every other country's military PMs. Great Britain is still on trench infantry. What about... Is there a fight happening here? No, that's just snow. Snow and radicalism. Golly, look at all this radicalism. What are those? Those pamphlets or bags? Not sure. But I see a lot of turmoil. What other countries got going on? Janet Baird, exiled from Australia. Lahej backs down against Prussia. Okay, that's not shocking. Prussia, are you having a radicalism problem? Interestingly, no. How are you doing militarily? You're at squad infantry. Oh, interesting. And air recon. Ooh, have to be careful of you. What about you, Austria? Are you at a decent military production method? No, you're still at trench. Okay. So I don't have to be worried about that. Two Sicilies, you seem like you're on the rise. Are you a military threat to me at all? Your military is certainly large. Wow, everything is popping off. We have a Bengali aristocratic revolt. Oof. Rough time to be in Bengal, I have to say. And we have Prussia and the British Republic squaring off. Heck, what's going on here? So, another exile from Denmark. Alright, so Prussia wants Gujarat and wants Great Britain to transfer vassalage of Jodhpur. Great Britain wants Prussian Botswana, transfer of Mecklenburg, Strelitz, and Megertine. I don't know where... Oh, Megertine is over here. Interesting. Very interesting. Huh. Prussia got a hold of these little bits of the British territory during their last war. Prussia's worried about... Great Britain is worried about Prussia, which is interesting. Prussia has the support of Bremen, Hesse, Mecklenburg, Strelitz, Megertine, and Hesse-Kassel, as well as... And Great Britain has the help of Baroda. And then there's an Afghan revolt against the Sikh Empire happening, and then Bengal. Can I align with Bengal? Bengal is communist? It's a vanguard state. Interesting. Council Republic, oligarchy, traditionalism. That's wild. Ooh. The USA has sided with Great Britain. Interesting. Feared but not loved. Tahiti, owing us an obligation, could be used to request a propaganda campaign, making the world see our nation in a more pleasant light. It is well known for a nation to be respected, feared even, but can we truly expect them to support us in the future if most Tahitian children grow up hearing stories about how we will eat them if they don't behave? Everyone should remember how we came to their aid. Tahiti gets the event a kinder image in 7 days. If they accept French, infamy decreased by 10. If they do not accept, French relations toward Tahiti deteriorates. Why, when we are a nation to be feared? I'm going to go with this first one. I'm hoping Tahiti will reduce my infamy, because I would love to get a nice, tasty infamy reduction, and then I can go engage in adventurism in Venezuela. But I'm going to wait until these wars pop off. I want the rest of the world to be occupied doing stuff during this. This has made Prussia fearful, but it's still going to take Great Britain a long time to actually get it together to do that, so I'm hoping that I can have what I want to have and not worry about it. Portugal is taking part in the revolt in Spain. Interesting. More exiles. Tahiti rejected the suggestion. Tahiti? How could you do this? How could you do this? But you're loyal. You're my protectorate, Tahiti. That makes me so sad. Where are you? You're over here. I don't know why I was in South America. How did Tahiti become my protectorate? I don't remember. Well, it was fun. So what's our infamy at now? This is 61.7. If we puppet Venezuela, that will take 39.3. So we need to be, essentially we need to be below 60 in order to make sure that we don't pass above the 100 infamy mark. Because while we are going goblin mode, we're not going full goblin mode. So for the moment, we're just kind of waiting and chilling, keeping an eye on unemployment, which is getting pretty high. We're not paying that much in welfare, but it's not nothing either. Let's see. I think we've got all of... I think we've essentially got our laws worked out the way we want them. Except for the National Militia, of course. I'd love to be back yet. I could go to Professional Army. I could go back, but I don't know. I did kind of like things being where they are. Alright, so the war has popped off. British Republic is in a war with Prussia. That's very good for us. That means we can engage in whatever kind of adventurism we want. The war in Bengal is proceeding at pace. So yeah, we just need to wait a little bit longer. A little bit less than a year for our infamy to go down. I'm going to go ahead and boost up the speed here a little bit because we're just chilling, keeping relaxed, biding our time. You know what, Two Sicilies? Let's be a little bit less hostile towards each other. Oh, that costs so much in terms of influence. I want to keep my influence high because I want to have my my infamy decay going. So the Bengali aristocratic revolt. What are you? You're an autocratic monarchy. Traditionalism, no workers' rights, legacy slavery. Oil. Inner Mauritania has oil. That's exciting. Let's get those wells built. Probably not that many of them. Am I crazy? We struck oil, just not more. Oh, the investment pool already built them. Never mind. We struck oil, just not that much of it. Great Britain's buying our hardwood. That's really funny. You may have that hardwood, Great Britain. We're spending a lot on defensive pacts with Mexico and Haiti. I wonder if this number... Yeah, this is high because of our infamy. That's why. It's only base cost of 150. Ooh, rubber and Haiti. Excellent. Very good. Alright. We are below 60 infamy. So, I think it's time for our war on Venezuela. Shibuya. There's that, and we'll go ahead and activate some conscripts in just a few areas. So this is Rhine HQ, that's all of this area, just French HQ. This is the South Germany HQ. Alright, so we'll pull up our Swiss conscripts as well. We'll grab our North African ones. Senegal, we'll pull up some battalions. Niger HQ, we'll bring up some battalions. And I think this is Congo HQ. And then, of course, over here and in South Africa. That should be plenty. And we'll increase the speed here. We'll decrease the speed here because I need to get these generals moving. You're both at the France HQ. I'm going to put you on the main front. How many battalions can you manage, Venezuela? That's 75. And what is your military production method look like? Skirmish and shrapnel, not worried about it. What about conscript, skirmish, and shrapnel? Okay. Interesting. Let's go ahead and grab... Let me see. Anywhere we have 2 generals already. Oh, we actually have a general available. Oh, we have nobody at Rhine HQ. Interesting. And nobody at Occitania. That's what's happened. Alright, so we'll grab 2 people. They're both communists, but you're reckless. So, hedonist. Extra morale recovery, but extra supply consumption. Erudite. Lower command limit. Can't have lower command limit in this type of government. Who was the guy I just recruited? This guy. Prudence Guillaume Robert. Congratulations. I know it's your first day on the job, but now you're a field marshal. And then I need someone for the Rhine HQ. Well, you're aligned with the industrialists, and you're a jingoist. You're arrogant, you're a pillager. Perfect. Aristide Marast, you're exactly the type of man I need for the Rhine HQ. Alright, and then let's grab one more army from the France HQ, because that HQ has 2 generals in it, I believe, has 3 in it total. Yes. Oh, we have 2 in Senegal. So I can grab 1 from Senegal. That's going to be you. Promote you. And put you on the front. And that should be a complete sufficiency. I think I can tolerate a little bit of a cash flow issue right now. Oh my goodness. Great Britain has had a fascist revolt in the middle of its war with Prussia. That's wild. Let's see what the fascist Great British politics look like. It's always funny to me when a fascist revolt pops, because they almost never are fascist. Like, look at this fascist parliamentary republic with universal suffrage, women's suffrage, racial segregation. Well, racial segregation is probably a little bit less liberal than what Great Britain's got. Nope, it's the same. That's very funny. Russia has been swayed to the side of Siak against Portugal. All right. Oh my goodness, there's... Oh. That's a neat flag. Rad. So South Africa has become a communist vanguard state. That's pretty neat. And of course, France will be more than happy to derive piles and piles of profits for its arms industry from this whole situation here. That'll be excellent. So far, no country has decided to intervene, especially not Austria. Canada, interestingly, has a very high military capacity. Canada, what kind of... Your kingdom... You have mass conscription. Interesting. But you have 300 regular battalions. That's incredible. Trying to industrialize, advance egalitarianism, and maintain the balance of power. You're a major at rank 9. You're an oligarchic monarchy with racial segregation, privatized schools and health insurance, protected speech, no home affairs, no police. Interesting. What an interesting situation Canada is in. Venezuela, are you afraid? Would you mind just going ahead and being my puppet, please, so that we can all have fun together in my market, and I can pay piles and piles for your oil, because I sure would love to pay piles and piles for your oil, and I'm definitely not going to annex you. Let me see if Bolivar has oil. Bolivar has oil capacity too. Okay, excellent. 2 arms. You know, Venezuela, I'm glad we're having this talk. I'm glad you and I are clearing the air and making sure that there are no more disagreements between us about who owns your oil. Revolution in the Baltic. We have a Danish liberal revolt. It's Denmark, and Denmark is a council republic. Interesting. Man, so many of these countries, their situations are just absolutely wild. They're just going everywhere. Things are going nutty. They've got so many revolutions and things, and it's just bananas. There's no rhyme or reason to any of it. Thankfully, though, we have a strong king. We have a solidly built state where everything is aligned properly. I'm just going to go ahead and throw a little consumption tax down there just to make ourselves a little bit of extra money while the war is happening. I'll probably repeal it later. Hannibal Peralt. Interesting. A theocrat. Rare. So actually, their war exhaustion is war sports decaying much faster than ours, because we've taken lower casualties by a factor of about 5. That's good. That is very good for us, and that's basically entirely as a result of us having armor. We do not yet have control of any of their capital, which I believe is Zulia. Nope, it's Miranda. Alright, so we'll just go ahead and set Miranda as our strategic objective. And maybe, if Venezuela decides to go ahead and develop their oil industry, then we won't have to annex them. But if they don't, then we'll have to annex them. And by have to, I mean we're going to because we're imperialists. So let's see. I'm not too worried about that war. So what's next on the war docket? I would love to... At some point, I need to start opposing American expansionism, because America is pretty strong in the overall scale of things, and it's going to continue to get stronger. It's already outpaced the European powers, who can't grow as fast. I may end up needing to... Oh, Bengal sorted their stuff out. Bengal won their civil war. That's fun. You get them. Aristocratic revolt in Siam against the Technate. This is a government type ruled by the chief executive, a qualified figure entrusted with administration by a board of technocratic officials. Technocracy. Presidential technocracy. That's really interesting. What an interesting situation is transpiring over there. This is costing us quite a bit of money, but I don't think I need to raise taxes, actually. Industrial barriers. This is an event we've had many times. This is factories in Constantine placing Maghrebi people in worse roles. I'm going to go with the thing I always go with, which is the second one, because I don't really understand how the pop attraction to different laws mechanic works. So that's just really my situation here. We are finally occupying part of Venezuela's capital state. That means that they are gaining. They no longer have war support protection. I'm just going to hit the puppet Venezuela peace deal. What if I agree to liberate Jamaica? No, okay, that's not going to matter. There's going to be a lot of time before they're willing to accept, but hopefully, so that puppet Venezuela as part of the peace deal thing, I think will go down by a factor of 10, which means we're not 360 war support away from them capitulating. We're actually only 208 less than that. So we're like 100 away. Yeah, we'll need to get them pretty low, but because we have armor and they have not, we are getting stronger in comparison to them every time. What is going on in Afghanistan? An Afghan proletarian revolt. Interesting. And then Austria is fighting up against a Pontiac revolt. So we're still at 95 infamy. Once we get a little farther down, we'll go for Tripolitania, and then we can relax a little bit. But after that, I think we might end up having to go after... I think we might end up needing to go after the United States, because this territory is territory where there is oil, and we want it. There's also silk here. Can we get opium anywhere? We can get opium here in Khuzestan. And I think Khuzestan has discoverable oil as well. And then Luristan has a pile of oil and opium. So I think Persia is going to be a good, actually, expansion target. What kind of military do you have, Persia? Skirmish infantry and shrapnel artillery with basic support and recon only. I'm not worried about that. I don't think there's any capacity for Persia to win against us. So I am extremely confident in our capacity to win a war with Persia. I did a Persia run a long time ago and managed to form a very strong Persia that I eventually turned into a council republic, but it was one of these situations where, like, I did it right before the patch where they made the tech much, much harder for countries that are starting a little bit behind the curve technologically. So it was one of these situations where I wanted to be... Alright, time to get a little tax hike. It was one of these situations where, like, I've always wanted to kind of do it again, but I never... Ottoman Empire's vassalizing Yemen. Interesting. I always wanted to do it again, but, like, I knew it was going to be a lot harder the second time through, and that's always hard for me. It's just, like, it takes a lot of wind out of my sails when... it takes a lot of wind out of my sails when I know that it's going to be, like, more difficult the second time through just because of mechanical changes. And that's not to say that I think the mechanical changes were bad changes. I don't think they were. But it felt bad to me personally, having already done it once, to see that it would be a lot tougher. I also did a run as Dai Nam, where I was able to get most of this area and parts of Southeast Asia, most of Southeast Asia and parts of Indonesia into my vast empire. Peace deal. And we have modern financial instruments. That's going to be very good for our finances. We can afford to go ahead and drop taxes back down. And now Venezuela is in our customs union. I'm going to go ahead and improve relations with them because our relations with them are quite bad. And what can we... I'm going to go ahead and stop improving relations with Brazil right now. A land of plenty. The country's high standard of living has resulted in a widespread sense of contentment with the status quo, favoring Bernard Asperlin and the sitting Democratic Alliance in the ongoing elections. Change? Why would I want change? I've got a full belly, a happy wife, and a good job. Why would I squander that, chasing what might be? If it's not broken, then why fix it? This gives a bunch of extra momentum. I don't think that matters. Laud Asperlin's achievements. He gets... The industrialists become patrons of prosperity for 5 years, and he becomes a champion of prosperity. I'm going to do that second one. Hopefully that'll help things out. We can go ahead and cancel one of these consumption taxes. Give us a little bit of extra authority to play with. Because we don't need them. I've always been thinking about... I'm always intrigued by the idea of doing a consumption-based taxation country. Because what it does is it... it gives it gives a reduction in bureaucracy population cost multiplier. It reduces the cost of consumption taxes in terms of authority. So it's... If you're doing like an interesting like middle authority build, it lets you get away with a pretty low... Sorry, I'm trying to figure out if Prussia won its war with Great Britain. Yeah, it's got some infamy, and then Great Britain has almost none. So yeah, so Russia has to have won that war. I forget what they took. Oh, you know what? It was these two areas. So now they've got hold of Gujarat here, and they've got overlordship over Jodhpur. That's neat. So it would be interesting for a medium authority build. Obviously, a late game high authority build would not do well under a consumption-based taxation situation, just on account of like having high authority. Like there are only so many things you can effectively place consumption taxes on, unless you want to really mess up your standard of living by doing, you know, your clothes, groceries, grain, and furniture. All your stuff that really affects regular people by a lot. Prussia sides the Ottoman Empire against communist Yemen. Okay, well, that just kind of is what it is. Oh, Oldenburg. I'm like, what's going on? I thought this was IT, but it's not. IT is blue on top, red on the bottom. Oh, and they've got a little logo here. Interesting. They're an absolute monarchy. Hold on, let me look at those politics again. Landowners in power, everyone else against. Interesting. What's the standard of living here, I wonder? 16.8, that's not bad at all. Neat. Communist Cuba, are you actually fighting Spain? You are. Although I guess Spain just had a revolution. What's Spain's situation now? You're still a democratic republic. Neat. Oil in Miranda. Excellent. Can't bankroll you because our relations are too bad. Yeah, that's going to take a while. Alcide Stöckle. Interesting. You're a... You align with the armed forces and you're a communist. I think you're going to have to go. Bye! Not dealing with that. Someone else can deal with that. Okay, I think we'll probably put a pin in it at the end of the year. The next target is going to be Tripolitania. We'll have that available to us. So, once again, to verify, puppeting Tripolitania will cost us 16.5 infamy. So, again, in order to stay below 100, we'll round that up to 17. So, we're going to need to be below 83. So, that'll be about another 2 years, maybe a little bit less. From here. So yeah, so expect one episode of us just being chill and not going too crazy. And then after that, we'll see where we are with annexing Venezuela. Because right about now, Venezuela should be producing a ton of oil. They're producing oil here. Well, they are producing oil. We can offer to take on their debt. Their debt is not that significant. See, I would love to throw cash at them. Oh my goodness. Everything's popping off over here. What is happening? So, the United States is trying to conquer Eritrea here, which they didn't get during their war with the Ottoman Empire before. Russia is supporting... Oh, alright. Obligation from Cambodia is expiring. Well, we'll go ahead and absolve that. I'm not necessarily worried about our situation right now, Cambodia. I'm not even sure how we got that obligation to begin with. So, and the Ottoman Empire wants American war reparations. Russia and... Oh, Egypt is the target. This is Egypt right here. And then they've got Mexico, Ottoman Empire, and Russia aligning with them. They're both worried. There's an election. It seems our government continues to be righteous. What is the USA's primary production? You're still entrenched in siege. I have to say, I am tempted to stand with... Oh, I can't. I can't stand with Egypt because our relationship is not good enough. Dang, it's like me going on all these... Me engaging in all this foreign adventurism and such has alienated a bunch of the other countries in the world. That doesn't really seem fair. I've been very normal in my my overall approach to other countries. I think it's downright unfair of them to be mad at me over a little something like unprovoked wars. It looks like the British Republic's war has ended with the success of the Council Republic. This guy, Duncan Elmsley, is still on the throne, so I think things have gone okay there. It always surprises me when that happens, because it always looks like so much of Great Britain goes with the revolt, and then I forget that Great Britain tends to hold these outer states. Bemba, who are you? You're an African Council Republic. Huh. You know what, Bemba? We should be friends. I don't know what's going on with you, but I would like you to be my protectorate. What you, Douala? You're also a tiny African Council Republic. Are you a puppet of Russia? You're not. Interesting. Congo, you're a dominion of Great Britain. And Benin, you're a dominion of Austria. That's right. Life is interesting. Azande, you're another African Council Republic. This is wild. Yeah, I guess every time Great Britain has a revolution, a couple of these countries break free. It's exciting. We'll see what happens. I might contain my aggression in Africa to European countries only, and we'll see what sort of develops from there. I still have a sort of ongoing desire to have one of these countries form Ethiopia so that I can have that as a protectorate, because I would love to have an Ethiopian protectorate. But anyway, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. For now, though, I've had fun. I hope you all have had fun, and I'll see you all on the other side.